Hi class, today we're talking about bank reconciliations, so I thought I'd start off the week with sharing with you my first experience with completing reconciliations, and then we're going to dive into the KBC alternate project that you're doing this week and how you are going to look at the company records and the bank statement in order to make a bank rec. So let's start off. When I was a lot younger, I just newly married, wanting to work from home, wanting a change of scenery, and I got into bookkeeping. I had a family friend. Her name was Diane. She was lovely, and I knew she was a bookkeeper. I called her up. I'm like, hey, Diane, what do you do for work? She said, I'm a bookkeeper. I said, what's a bookkeeper? And she proceeded to explain to me what the daily accounting tasks and the weekly accounting tasks, etc., that are done by companies to keep their records straight. And so one of the first times that I was actually working on books, I spent quite a bit of time with Diane. She let me come under her wing, and she taught me on the job how to do postings and how to enter things into the accounting software. And one day we had this one project where there were 4 Visa statements. So there were credit card statements, but it's the same principle as a bank statement. So there was these 4 Visa statements, and she looked at me and she handed me the Visa statements and she said, Melissa, here you go, just go reconcile these. And I looked at her and I looked at the papers and I looked at her and I looked at the papers, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Where do I start? And so I sat down on the floor, I spread the Visa statements around, and I just kind of stared like a deer in the headlights. And Diane came and she sat down beside me and she patted me on the back and she brought over the general ledger printout from the accounting software, and she said, look, we're going to compare the two. We're going to look at the bank records, the credit card records, and what transactions they list. And we're going to look at our accounting records and what it lists. And we're going to see what is the same on both and what is missing, what is on one of the statements or one of the records that isn't on the other. So we sat down and meticulously went line by line through and found the transactions, and that was my first experience doing quite a heavy reconciliation for a number of Visa statements. But once I did it, it was such a sense of accomplishment. I finally got, okay, this is how it happens. This is where the magic happens. So this week in Chapter 9, learning about cash transactions, cash accounting for cash, one of the features is the bank reconciliation. So there's a teaching video that you'll see up on doing a whole presentation on the bank reconciliation function. So for this video, we're going to look specifically at our KBC project. So you might not be able to see the board in this video, so pull out the bank statement for April from your KBC project. So it'll be in your KBC in the alternate instructions. And yes, you are doing the bookkeeping for May, but you're doing the bank reconciliation for April. Because think about it, when you get a bank statement in the mail, you can't get a bank statement on April 30th in the mail for the bank statement period ended April 30th. You just can't happen. The post office doesn't go that fast. The banks don't process it that fast. So the bookkeeper is going to receive the April bank statement in May. So you're doing the May books for the KBC project, and so you are going to be receiving the April bank statement. So we've got the April bank statement, and then you have to pull out your company bank records for the month of April so that we can compare the two. So you're going to look at the company records for April that touch the bank. So what are the 2 journals that touch the bank? Well, we've got the cash receipts journal of all the money coming in, and we've got the cash payments journal of all the money going out. So all you're going to do is have those 2 different journals, your cash payments journal and your cash receipts journal, and then you're going to look at your bank statement. And in the bank statement, there's a number of columns. We've got the dates, we've got the details, a list of the check amounts, a list of the deposit amounts, and of course the running balance for the bank. In our cash payments journal, we have our normal columns, and at the far right of the sheet we see bank credit. So our cash payments journal is going to be a credit. Now, why don't we want to just look at the total, that $9,437? Well, we don't want to just look at the total because that's not what's hitting the bank. If we look at the bank statement, we at no point in time see the number 9,437. What do we see? We see each of these checks coming out of the bank. We see check 33 for $26.25. So let's just check that off. That's what we do in a bank rec. So you want to have a notepad ready. You want to have your cash payments journal ready. And we see $26.25 bank credit. $26.25 clears the bank. $10.50 bank credit. $10.50 clears the bank. $180.80 bank credit, and $180.80 clears the bank. $463.30, $463.30, $62.15, $62.15, 20 or $213.57, $213.57, $2,940, $2,940. $63.28, $63.28, $13.68.38, $13.68.38. Are there any more? One more. $397 and 97, $317 and 97 cents, $317 and 97 cents. Now there's two transactions left outstanding. There's one transaction on the bank statement, and that's the service charge. So the service charge is not posted yet in the general ledger or the journals for our company. And for our company, we have this transaction in the bank for the cash payments journal of $152.55, check 43, delivery expense, and that hasn't yet cleared the bank. So we have a note on both sides. We have our cash payments journal note that $152.55 has not cleared the bank in April. So what are we watching for? We want to have that in our notes for our bank reconciliation report, and then we want to watch for it in the May bank statement. And then we want to look also at our cash receipts. So that's our deposits. So we want to look at the same way as we did for the cash payments, but now we're talking debits to the bank. So our debits to the bank for the month of April, we have $7,910. So here, $7,910, I can check that off. $548.05, $548.05, $1,520.70, $1,520.70, and then there's one transaction outstanding, and that's this $11,526 deposit. Now, when you're doing this in real life, the most common way to identify these outstanding transactions is to put O/S. So we've got O/S, and that's our note. When we're making notes, we're going to have our outstanding, notes of outstanding, and I can say that my cash payments journal, we have check 43, 152.55, and then cash receipts journal, I have one deposit, $11,526. Make that a little nicer. And then what else? I have a record on the bank. So on our bank statement, the outstanding is this bank charge of $12. So that's the three pieces, that's the three documents that you need now in order to do your bank rec for KBC. You just need your bank statement for the month of April, your cash payments journal, and your cash receipts journal. And then you need to have a notepad, a piece of scrap paper that you're making your notes on, so you have your notes of your outstanding transactions. And then just like on the bank reconciliation teaching video, you're going to use this information and this ending balance of $47,567.78 to create your bank reconciliation report. And that's it. That's what you need to know in order to get started for the KBC bank reconciliation. I know you guys got this.